People are often shocked when I tell them about it. You know, when you've entered this other dimension where something has just become so normal and so obvious to you that you forget. You forget that somebody will be shocked by what you're going to say. You forget that you're going to bring them into a whole new world. That's really been the case when me and Sam talk about the free birth that we had. Some people don't like the idea of it, are quite terrified, and some people are completely in awe and amazed. And we have often been told that they just never even considered that possibility of birthing at home alone. It's something that I really, really wanted, and I really grew into into creating for myself, for my baby, for my partner, for our family. A big reason why I didn't want to have a baby was because I felt something deep in my intuition around giving birth in a hospital that just like felt really wrong to me. I had a really hard time seeing myself doing that, and I didn't know why. And to be honest, I was putting everything on me, being like, "Oh, you don't trust people. You have to like open up and let yourself be held." And so I was trying to do that, and the whole way through, I tried to do that. To be honest, I kept hoping that I would like find the kind of support that I was looking for in the people that I was meeting within the medical system. But the truth is that I never found it. Sure, there were like, it's not all bad, obviously. There were good things here and there, but it was never to the depth that I wanted to experience. What I was looking for was something much more holistic in the approach to how we like support women and babies in birth, that encompasses everything beyond just the physical body of like looking at numbers telling you that you or your baby are too fat or too thin. You know, if you saw some of my previous expressions from the heart on that, you'll see how I kind of felt and worked through that piece. But when it comes to the birth itself, I was just like, I want to be in my power. I don't want to be working with people who don't know me, who don't know like who I am and what I want, and who have no interest in creating like a spiritual, magical experience. And that's what I wanted, you know? And when I started like looking into home births and talking to people about home births, you know, you get the image, like the Instagram image that is sold, which to me is just like another like way to make money and sell. It's like you have to have the birthing tub and like all these fairy lights and all like this situation. And what I realized that what I wanted was like just super simple. Like birth is actually just, yeah, like I wanted to connect to just this knowing that birth can just be like incredibly natural and simple. I was actually really inspired by, it sounds probably kind of weird, but by a scene in the TV series Handmaid's Tale, where a woman gives birth like all by herself in a house alone in front of a fireplace. And I was like, something about that image, like even though I wasn't at that time, well, I was starting to think about having a baby, but it wasn't like completely concrete in my mind yet. I was like, that's what I want. And I was like, is that totally crazy? And turns out that like I found other people who wanted that and who were like basically inspiring other women to do that through like the free birth movement. And it took me a long time to like feel like I could do it, you know, and to even in like right towards the end, I wasn't 100% sure I could do it, but I really worked as much as possible to make that happen. The thing is that here in France anyway, where I live, there is no midwives who will do home births. So a part of me was like, oh, I can't do a free birth like by myself for the first time. That's too freaky. I would like to have a midwife around. But in the end, I realized it was kind of a gift from the universe that there was nobody here to do it, because I wanted to do it alone. I really did. And again, not to like prove something to myself or to prove something to anybody. It's because that's what felt really right. So even though my partner Sam did come around and he did like end up doing a lot of research to like understand what this was all about, what I wanted, he finally got on board. And like I said, he is quite passionate about this subject now, and like he's having conversations with people around him about their births, and like he sees the trauma that is inflicted upon people without them necessarily like knowing that there could have been another way. That's the thing that's like most sad about what's going on. And I'm not going to talk about like the problems within the system. Like other people are doing that just fine. In this space, I just express from my heart and share my experience. So if you are wondering about your own experience, then like read or like look online, try to find help. And there are people who do a lot of amazing work around birth trauma, because sometimes we have traumatic experiences and we don't realize that they were traumatic. We think like, oh yeah, that like this was great, this was like I had a great birth, and then suddenly like maybe you start hearing other people's stories or whatever, and slowly you unpack things and realize like, oh, actually I totally was not in my power. I think that's very, very unfortunate, but the truth for so many people. And for them to even be able to admit that to themselves, I think can be hard, can be really, really hard. So it's touchy to even talk about this story, to share this story. I haven't shared it with many people because it's hard to. And I think a lot of people aren't necessarily always prepared to hear it, because it reflects something back to them that, is a little bit hard for them to see. The last few years of me like researching and trying to see and find alternatives that would make me want to have a baby, like that would allow me to create space for the desire that I had to have a baby, and like remove all of the obstacles of like, oh, I don't want to have a baby because like this situation doesn't work for me. This like there were so many things about the modern way of like having babies, being mothers, and like raising children that just like didn't work for me. I had to like rebuild my life to be able to hold space for this desire and to make it happen in the way that I wanted to. Hearing all of the amazing stories from other women, reading birth stories, hearing them online, watching them through the amazing women who actually like film their births and share, which I didn't do. For me, it was like a very intimate experience that I wouldn't want to necessarily share on the internet, but I'm grateful for the people who have, because it is a natural process, and it did help me see what was normal, instead of just like what we see in Hollywood movies. Like there's amazing Instagram accounts where women share the videos of their births, and you just see all these variations of what it can look like, and it's so amazing. Honestly, I'm so grateful for the internet. Okay, so I wanted to share my story because I know that hearing other women's stories, since everyone's story is so unique to them, unique to their baby, I want to add to the collection. So I'll do that in another video that I'll release a little bit later. Today was just like the context, the why, and in a recent expression from the heart, I talked about Sam expressing with me on this. I always have this desire to express with him. Sometimes I feel like it is an excuse for myself to not just sit down and express, because there's a part of me that, like, especially with an important story like this, wants it to be perfect, wants to get it right, which is why I practice expressing from the heart, because I want to just trust and let go of like the perfectionism that leads me to procrastination, and that I never end up doing anything. So expressing from the heart is really just trusting, sitting down and trusting that what was said was the way it needed to be said, how it had to be done, and that it's good enough, it's more than good enough. It's perfect as it is, as it exists in that form. That may not be my ideal, or my perfectionist mind may see a bunch of mistakes, but that's not what it's about, right? Anyway, so all that being said, I'll wrap this video up for today, and I will release the actual story soon. Let me know if like you have a story with this. I would definitely love to hear about it. If you do have questions, don't hesitate to reach out and I can share some of my favorite resources. Thanks for listening to this expression from the heart, and I'll see you in another video.